Let me tell you a truth most people avoid: the world doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care how tired you are, how many times someone broke your trust, or how often you've been ignored, dismissed, or underestimated. Life won't hand you sympathy on a silver platter. But listen closely: you were never meant to blend into the background. You were built to rise above it. And if you want to not just survive but thrive, you must become smarter than the world that tries to outpace you. You need to navigate with precision and power. I'm not talking about manipulation. I'm not talking about lies or cruelty. I'm talking about strategy. I'm talking about thinking with clarity, acting with purpose, and living with presence. The kind of strength that's shaped in the dark, molded by pain, refined through betrayal, and sharpened by the nights you stood alone with nothing but willpower and hope. You want to own your space? Walk into any room and know you can't be played? Then listen carefully. I'm about to give you 5 rules that separate the forgettable from the unforgettable. 5 rules that, if followed, will make sure you're never anyone's puppet again. Rule 1. Master your emotions before they master you. Let me ask you something raw. How many valuable things have you lost? Not because of someone else's actions, but because of your own reaction. Maybe it was a relationship, a career move, your dignity, or your self-respect. Be brutally honest. Emotions are powerful, but unchecked, they are deadly. A man who cannot manage his anger, fear, or jealousy doesn't own his life. He's just a puppet, and the world knows how to pull his strings. People spot his weaknesses and press them for fun. Before he knows it, he's reacting on cue like a trained animal. But the one who learns emotional discipline, who feels deeply but stays grounded, that man is dangerous in the best way. He's walked through storms but moves like the universe bows to him. You must reach a level where you allow yourself to feel everything, but respond with intention and always on your terms. Control doesn't mean coldness. It means wisdom. It means refusing to let someone else's disrespect dictate your peace. You don't need to respond to every insult. You don't owe a reaction to every provocation. You're a lion, and lions don't flinch at the bark of small dogs. You owe no explanations to people invested in misunderstanding you. And when disrespect shows up, you take a breath, assess, and respond only if it protects your peace. Sometimes silence is your sharpest weapon. Because once you let your emotions hijack your actions, you hand away your power. That's how the average live. But you're not built for average. You're not meant to be predictable. You were born to lead, to remain unshaken, to dominate without raising your voice. Notice this. The most powerful person in any room is usually the quietest one. That's not by accident. Stillness is a weapon. Calm is strength. While others react emotionally, throwing blind punches, you remain focused. You observe. You analyze. And when it's time, you strike with precision. The loudest one rarely holds true power. It's the quiet one, the one who's watching, listening, studying the energy, who controls the game. Be that person. Let no one see what unsettles you. Don't reveal your thoughts or your next move. That's how you stay ahead of manipulators, backstabbers, and smiling enemies. Your silence during chaos will echo louder than any angry outburst. Emotions are natural, but they should never steer your life. Anger, fear, envy, they're signals, not steering wheels. And if you let them drive, they'll take you places you'll regret. So what's the solution? Discipline. You train. You learn to pause. You become the man who observes first and speaks later. The one whose mind leads, not his feelings. You don't suppress emotions, you refine them. Turn pain into strategy. Turn rage into purpose. And when someone tries to trigger you, tries to pull you into their chaos, you look them in the eye and remind yourself, I control this moment. I decide how this ends. That's dominance. That's power. Here's a secret. Real power is self-control. That's why few ever attain it. It's harder to stay calm than to explode. Harder to walk away than to fight a battle that ends in regret. Emotional mastery doesn't mean being passive. It means knowing which wars matter. Because the truth is, most things that anger you aren't worthy of your energy. Most disappointments are just redirection. It's life, or God, showing you that door wasn't for you. But if you're drowning in emotion, you'll miss the message. And miss the message, repeat the mistake. This isn't just about avoiding fights. It's about walking in purpose. Because when emotions cloud your vision, you lose opportunities. You trust the wrong people. You say the wrong thing. You burn bridges you might need later. But when your mind is clear and your soul is steady, you become untouchable. Storms don't shake you. Hatred doesn't break you. And when they underestimate you, you let them. Their ignorance becomes your cover. That's emotional intelligence. That's how silent power is built. Remember, if someone can provoke you, they can control you. If they know your triggers, they can lead you. And if they lead you, you're no longer walking your path, you're dancing to theirs. That's not power. That's emotional slavery. So ask yourself, who's really in control here? You? Or your pride, your pain, your fear? You must take command of your emotional world. Because if you can't lead yourself, you'll never lead anyone else. If you can't stay centered, you can't protect your mission. You can't win if every emotion can shake your foundation. I'm not saying this from theory. I've failed too. I've reacted, I've lost, I've learned. But now I know. The higher you climb, the louder the noise. The more powerful you become, the more you're tested. So you must train your mind to stay solid under pressure. Learn to sit with discomfort without letting it rule you. Release the need to be understood. Let go of your addiction to validation. Sometimes silence is strength. Sometimes walking away is victory. Sometimes rising above is the only move. That's the path of a warrior. And make no mistake, you were built for battle. But the true war is internal. Outsmart your ego. Outsmart your rage. Outsmart the voice that wants revenge instead of victory. Your legacy will not be defined by how loud you roared, but by how well you led yourself. Master your emotions. Never let them master you. That is the first law of total dominance. And it's the foundation for every other rule you'll learn. Get this right, and no one will ever have the power to play you again. Now let's talk about rule number 2. Learn everything. Speak little. Most people never understand this until it's too late. Power doesn't come from how much you talk. It comes from how much you know. There's a certain sacred weight in silence, something commanding, something unforgettable. In a world that rewards noise, the one who speaks with purpose becomes a mystery, and that mystery earns respect. Wisdom doesn't yell. It speaks with quiet confidence. And when you walk into a space with that kind of energy, people lean in. They listen. Every word you say carries weight, not because it's loud, but because it's intentional. But don't just talk to be heard. Speak because you know. Learn constantly. Study the game. Understand people. Watch for patterns. Let every conversation, every room, every silence teach you something. And when you finally speak, do it with impact. Because the more you speak without direction, the more you give away your strategy, your fears, your doubts. People will twist your words, decode your mind, and use it against you. But when you master silence, when your words are calculated, when your presence alone carries power, you become unshakable. Your silence becomes your armor. Your quiet becomes your command. This isn't about being mysterious for show. It's about being intentional, being unreadable. Because no one can block a move they never saw coming. No one can manipulate a mind they can't understand. So let your silence do the talking. Make your presence the loudest voice in the room. Every room is a classroom. Every person you meet is a lesson. Every mistake is a teacher. But if you're too busy speaking, trying to be heard, you'll miss the wisdom unfolding right in front of you. The smartest people in the room are usually the ones listening. Not trying to impress, but assessing. Not showing off, but calculating. Be that person. Noticing the inconsistencies. Spotting the gaps in logic. And when they finally choose to speak, every word lands with weight. Each sentence is intentional, calculated, and sharp. That's exactly what you must strive for. Stop chasing attention. Start building awareness. Become the person who listens more than they speak. The one sitting silently in the back, processing everything, and when the moment comes, moves with such precision and clarity that everyone has to notice. If your mission is to outthink and outmaneuver others, you must know more than they assume and speak far less than they expect. That's how you strike with impact. That's how you lead with presence. Let them misread your silence. Let them think you have nothing to offer. Let them grow comfortable. That's when your strength begins to take root. In a world addicted to noise, silence becomes your superpower. But not just any silence, intentional silence. The kind backed by knowledge, experience, and observation. You must learn constantly. Read the books they overlook. Ask the questions they're afraid to face. Observe what they dismiss. Study everything: people, systems, psychology, strategy, history, pain, success, and failure. Knowledge becomes your armor, your weapon, your map. And the more you know, the less you need to speak. Real confidence isn't found in loud declarations, it's found in clear, quiet purpose. Think about it. The most powerful moves are the ones no one sees coming. That's because they're not being announced. The people making them are busy working, studying, building. While others are shouting about goals they'll never reach, you're already on the path. Don't broadcast your ambition. Let your results speak. Don't explain your mindset. Live it. Those who constantly talk are often looking for validation. But those who truly know their worth? They're content in the calm. When you dedicate yourself to deep learning and intentional speech, you conserve your energy for the moves that matter. You begin focusing on execution, not explanation. And that's what elevates you above the crowd. Every word has a cost. Every sentence takes energy, time, and sometimes leverage. The more you reveal your plans, the more they can be used against you. The less you speak, the harder it is for others to figure you out. You have to guard your internal world the same way you'd guard your physical space. You wouldn't leave your front door wide open. So why leave your thoughts, dreams, and goals exposed for just anyone? Protect your mental boundaries. Speak only when your words serve a purpose. When your message comes from clarity, calm, and strength. That's the mark of a true leader. That's how kings and queens speak. Most think that words equal power. But words only have power when they're rooted in substance. Without that, it's just noise. And noise fades. If you want to dominate in this life, learn all you can and speak only when needed. Be so informed that your silence carries weight. Be so intentional that your few words carry force. Be so mentally disciplined that people seek your presence for guidance, not entertainment. And never let the noise of the world pressure you into revealing what's sacred. Patience is part of the plan. Silence is part of the game. Every time you choose to listen instead of speak, you become stronger, more focused, more dangerous. While they're talking, you're transforming. So when you enter the room, do it with the quiet power of someone who knows far more than they show. Don't rush to explain. Don't beg to be seen. The world might not recognize your value right away, and that's okay. Because when you do speak, your words will shake the room. When you act, your presence will shift the energy. Keep learning. Keep sharpening. Speak less. Listen more. Because the one who listens the longest becomes the one who leads. The silent observer becomes the storm. The quiet student becomes the master. And the one who learns everything while saying little? That's the one they never see coming, until it's too late. Now, rule number 3, move with precision, not permission. There comes a moment when you realize that waiting for validation is the one thing keeping you stuck. You keep hoping someone will see your value, open a door, offer a shot. But no one is coming to give you permission to rise. You have to take it. You have to step like it's already yours. Walk like the opportunity is already locked in your name. Power never waits for approval. It belongs to the ones who prepare in silence, sharpen their skills, and strike with purpose. Precision over permission. That's the mindset of high performers. You don't ask if it's okay to be great. You show the world what greatness looks like. You weren't born to stay in the back row, waiting for someone to signal you forward. When you move with precision, you stop chasing and start choosing. You act from certainty, not fear. You don't wait for the green light, because in your mind, the race already belongs to you. Think about how many lives are paused, dreams postponed, potential wasted, all because someone is still waiting to feel ready. But those who win? They don't wait. They study. They practice. They plan. And when their moment comes, they're not knocking on the door, they're walking through it. The world naturally makes space for the one who knows where they're going. Treat your life like a mission. And missions aren't debated. They're executed. When a pilot prepares for takeoff, he doesn't ask passengers for permission. He follows the flight plan and commits to the sky. That's how you must operate. Let go of hesitation. Let go of the need for affirmation. Walk like the path is already yours. Speak like your voice matters. Move like your vision was already written. Because every second you wait for permission, you lose momentum. And once that control slips, it's hard to get back. But when you move with precision, you stay in command. You don't ask, you act. You don't follow, you lead. Make no mistake, precision isn't rushing. It's not recklessness. It's planning. Focused execution. Confidence backed by preparation. By the time the world sees your move, the work has already been done in the dark. You've studied. You've failed. You've risen. So when you arrive, you don't need a stage. You just show up. That kind of presence speaks louder than applause. You don't need to be flashy. Your discipline commands attention. Your silence becomes your edge. Your vision speaks for you. You don't wait for doors. You build them, then walk through without hesitation. The difference between dreamers and dominators is this. Dominators don't wait for a perfect moment. They move. They decide. They stumble forward. They learn, adjust, and keep pressing. They don't need comfort. They want clarity. And clarity only comes through action. You don't find yourself by overthinking. You find yourself by doing. When you move with precision, your failures become fuel, your lessons become leverage. You stay in motion. You don't freeze. You don't hand your power to anyone. The road might be hard, but it's yours. That's where freedom begins. Not in perfection, but in focused movement. Understand this. The loudest chains aren't physical. They're mental. That inner voice whispering that you're not enough. The doubt that says you're not ready. That questions who you think you are. That voice is a liar. And if you listen, it'll keep you small. That's why precision matters. When your mission is clear, doubt has no room. When your next move is locked in, fear has no entry point. You can't be controlled by rejection when your path doesn't require approval. Others might not understand you, and they're not supposed to. The vision wasn't given to them. It was given to you. Protect it. Walk it. Own it. Greatness doesn't show up with a megaphone. It unfolds, one disciplined action at a time. Every step forward without applause adds bricks to your foundation. You grow stronger, sharper, more certain. Move not for validation. Move because it aligns with who you are. Speak not to impress. Speak because your words are rooted in truth. Act not to be liked. Act to leave impact. When you embrace precision, you stop reacting and start building. You stop chasing and start creating. And then the world begins to catch up to the strength you've always carried inside. So from this moment on, stop waiting. Decide who you are. Decide what you want. And move. Move even when they doubt you. Move even if they laugh. Move when no one's watching, because they will. One day they'll look back and realize, you never asked for permission. And that is power. True power isn't loud. It's certain. It's the quiet force of someone who stopped waiting and started claiming. Because when you truly know your worth, Hesitation dies when you move like that, with confidence and intention. You don't just change your life, you change the energy in every room you enter. Now let's talk about number 4. Turn every setback into strategy. Life will hit you. That's not a possibility, it's a promise. There will be days when it feels like the oxygen has been sucked out of your lungs. Days when everything you built comes crashing down. You will lose people you thought would stay forever. You'll lose time. You'll miss opportunities. And in those moments, a voice inside might whisper, "It's over." But hear me clearly, that voice is a liar. This isn't your end. It's your evolution. Because inside every setback is a seed of wisdom, of growth, of redirection. Pain isn't punishment. It's preparation. The great ones don't avoid pain, they transform it. They take every betrayal, every breakdown, and turn it into a breakthrough. They don't freeze when life punches them. They sharpen. Stop seeing failure as a dead end. It's not a wall, it's a detour, a pivot, a course correction. When life breaks you down, it's not rejecting you, it's rerouting you. Toward strength, toward depth, toward your next level. The strongest people you'll ever meet didn't have easy lives. They had powerful comebacks. They stared into the storm and said, "I will not fall. I will forge." That's the difference between the defeated and the dangerous. The response. The defeated stay down. The dangerous get smarter, sharper, deadlier. When a door closes, don't sit outside in misery. Study it. Learn how it locks. Build something better. That's the strategy. Setbacks aren't here to break you. They're here to build the next version of you. So if something fell apart, ask why. If someone rejected you, what is that pain pointing to? Pain is not just pressure, it's a compass. It leads you to purpose. Adversity wears a disguise. But beneath it lies every tool you need to level up. You have a choice. Sit in the ashes or rise with blueprints in hand. Will this defeat you or refine you? Because the difference between a leader and a follower isn't who falls, it's who evolves. Leaders don't complain. They reflect. They adapt. They return with a new fire. A more surgical mindset. Power is in the calculated comeback. You analyze. You adjust. You execute. Don't ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What now?" Use your pain as fuel. Turn your tears into tools. That's how champions move. They don't just survive, they strategize. They make setbacks serve them. Maybe that loss woke you up. Maybe it ripped you from a comfort zone you were never meant to stay in. Maybe that collapse was the only way life could realign you with who you're meant to become. Like a bow pulled backward before launch, maybe you're not falling apart. Maybe you're being aimed at greatness.